Al-Qaeda. Those who operate through terror must be treated as terrorists. Ministers also imposed sanctions on those responsible for the brutal crackdown of protests, including the Minister of Interior. Repression cannot go unanswered. Beyond this, ministers adopted new sanctions on those involved in Iran's war support to Russia and expanded export controls. Ministers were clear that Iran must release all those unjustly detained, including the European Union citizens. Going forward, we must be ready to further increase pressure on the authorities and continue supporting Iran's civil society. Then on Syria, Syria remains fragile. The ceasefire and the opening of humanitarian corridors are positive developments, but the country is far from stable. ISIS poses a persistent threat, and overall ministers stressed that the inclusive political transition and national reconciliation are the best path to prevent Syria from sliding back into chaos. On Gaza, our focus is on supporting the peace plan, the overdue reopening of the Rafah crossing point between Gaza and Egypt will be the clearest sign of progress yet. Our EU personnel is ready to redeploy. Our EUPOL COPS mission can play a key role in training Palestinian police and justice institutions. We are moving ahead with expanding EU training activities into Jordan. Ultimately, the security of Gaza must lie in the hands of Palestinians. Ministers also discussed how to engage and support Gaza's new governance structures. As we know, Gaza's reconstruction will depend on Hamas demilitarization. Then Sudan remains the world's worst humanitarian crisis. In response to the escalating violence, ministers adopted new sanctions against the members of the Rapid Support Forces and the Sudanese armed forces. These measures alone will not end the war, but they will raise the cost for those responsible. And finally, on the Great Lakes region, ministers discussed how EU can intensify diplomatic engagement, scale up humanitarian assistance, and better support the regional stabilization efforts. We must be ready to consider further measures according to the events on the ground. And with that, I'm happy to take your questions.
Thank you, High Representative. We move to your questions. First question goes to Max, AFP. Can get the mic. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, HRVP. Max Delaney for AFP. You've just taken the decision to designate the Iran Revolutionary Guard as a terrorist. Does this mean that the EU would back Donald Trump striking the regime in Tehran with his armada? Thank you.
This decision means that if we list them as a terrorist organization, then many member states have criminalized any activity or interaction with the terrorist organization. So that puts more pressure on this. When it comes to attacks, then I think the region does not need a new war.
Thank you. We move on the second row. Tatiana, yes.
Thank you very much. Tatiana Vysotska, European Pravda, Ukraine. Today the ministers were supposed to talk about the security guarantees for Ukraine and the prosperity plan. And as we know, one of the best security guarantees is the membership of Ukraine in the European Union. And now there are a lot of discussions concerning the date, the year when this accession is possible. There are a lot of talks around 2027 as the accession year. Do you think it is possible for Ukraine to join the EU in 2027? If not, then when? And recently, Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orban, he said that there is some secret document where 2027 goal is mentioned, and he was criticizing that widely. Is this document really exist? Can you tell? Is it a prosperity plan, maybe? Thank you so much.
Thank you. What is clear is that Ukraine's future lies in the European Union. So we are working on this, the process of joining European Union. But I also want to stress that enlargement is a geopolitical choice in this geopolitical world, what we have right now. I think it's good to be the region where, countries want to join us voluntarily, by the way. And there are many of those. But we also need to deliver on this. I think we need to see in coming years really development and new countries joining to make us also stronger on the geopolitical sphere. Thank you.
Valentina, over there. Yes? Yes?
Yes, Angela Mauro, HuffPost Italy. Thanks for the opportunity. High Rep, it's on the board of peace. You said the future of Gaza is up to the Palestinians. Can you share with us anything on the discussion among the ministers on the board of peace, if there is any news about this on the Trump's board of peace? Thanks.
Thank you. Actually, we had the discussion with the ministers on the Board of Peace last Monday, before the process. So we did the legal analysis of the Charter, and the position of member states is that we are supporting the Board of Peace that would be in accordance with the UN Security Council resolution. If you read the Security Council resolution, it is about Gaza. It is limited in terms of time in 2027, and it has clear role for the Palestinians also in the process. Now, the Charter of Board of Peace right now is much wider. It doesn't have the equality of states that most of countries have in their constitutions or in their laws, that they can only join international organizations, whereas the equality of the states is respected. If you read the Charter, then it's not even the states, all states are not equal in this Board of Peace. So the approach has been to try to narrow the Board of Peace down to Gaza, like it was meant to be in the United Nations Security Charter. But what I want to stress, what the minister said, is that we really want to work in order to have a sustainable peace in Gaza. So there is a willingness to work with that, but as we are all democracies, then we also are bound by the rules of these democracies, for example, regarding joining the international organizations.
To the front, Jorge, in red. Yes.
Hello, Jorge Liboreiro with Euronews. I have a question on Ukraine and Russia. I'm sure you know there's been a lot of talk lately about the possibility of reopening diplomatic channels with Russia. Emmanuel Macron and Giorgia Meloni are among those who call for this re-engagement to happen to avoid depending on the White House diplomacy, which, as you know, is not always predictable. There's still no unanimity on the issue, but where exactly do you stand? Do you think the time has come to pick up the phone and call the Kremlin, and who should do it? Should it be you? Should it be one of the 27 leaders? Or should we spend 6 months trying to find a special envoy of some kind? Thank you.
Thank you. We can't be the demandeurs here that, we go to Russia, talk to us. What is the picture right now is that, the concessions that the Americans are putting on Ukraine are quite strong. So I don't think there's anything that we can offer to Russia on top of that, what they already sort of get in their understanding with the Americans, which means that why should they talk to us? Because they get what they want in this relationship. So, of course, what we need to see and what we are working on is putting more pressure on Russia so that they would go from pretending to negotiate to actually negotiate, and also to take into account the worries that we have with Russia that this war will not continue and this war will not expand to other territories. So I think this is important to understand. If you look at these Abu Dhabi discussions, then Russians were not present on the level that has the right to make decisions. So they are not really taking this seriously.
Thank you. Vitaly here, and then we'll move on the other side of the room.
Thank you, Vitaly Sizov, Freedom. Did you discuss the loan for Ukraine, how you're going to spend it? Because Minister for Foreign Affairs Sibiha, he said that Ukraine need at least $15 billion per year to buy American weapon. Is it possible to buy American weapon on this money? And the second question, on Donbas region, State Secretary of United States Rubio said that it's a central issue in negotiation. Several months ago, I think you comment already on this topic. Is there some changes? What do you think? Should Ukraine withdraw armed forces, or give up Donbas at sake of peace? Because today morning you said that some concession, so-called, is possible in exchange of guarantee of security. Is it help to increase security of Ukraine?
Thank you. So first on the loan and how to spend it. If you recall the European Council decision on this loan, it had sort of a cascade principle. So first, of course, if Ukrainian industry or European industry are able to provide the urgent needs that Ukraine has, then it should be bought from there. But if not, then it could be bought outside Europe or Ukraine to answer the urgent needs that Ukraine has. So yesterday I had a meeting with European defense industry, like a group of representatives from the defense industry, and I was also saying them very clearly that if you are not really ramping up your production and speeding up your processes, you're going to lose this money, because the urgent needs of Ukraine are the first, and then if you are not able to provide, the money will go outside to those providers who can. Then on the second question, of course, it's up to Ukraine to decide what kind of concessions Ukraine is willing to make. What I was saying is that, if they are making concessions, then Ukrainians have been very clear that it has to be in exchange for tangible security guarantees, because it is also very hard to explain to your people that why you have to make these concessions unless you have the rest of Ukraine then in peace. And that is what they have to decide. Now, the security guarantees that we are providing, the coalition of the willing is providing, are there, but there also has to be tangible security guarantees from United States. Not on paper, but really very, very concrete, and they can't be also conditional, because, if you're making such hard decisions, then you also need to have security afterwards.
We move to the other side of the room. To be fair, we'll come back to this part. Nick, here. Coming.
Thank you. Hi, Commissioner. High Representative, excuse me. It was a really big shift on the IRGC this week. We saw a number of big states kind of change their position really in a short time frame. I wonder if you could just talk us through what you saw as the key moments for you for putting this on the table, and what you understand of thinking in Paris and and Rome, where they really changed their position. What sort of did it? How did the EU come together for this listing?
Thank you. As you know, it has been quite a process. Of course, I can't speak for the member states. They speak for themselves. But what is my opinion? Opinion is that, there was an internet ban and everything was not clear what has happened. And when the atrocities were clear, then also it was clear that there has to be a very strong response from the European side.
Joachim, please. Yes.
Tere, Joachim Clementi, Estonian Public Broadcasting. from the discussions today, do you think there is now a willingness from the member states to start actually blacklisting Russian soldiers or ex-soldiers into entry into the Schengen area? Are the member states actually going to do this? And on your visit to India, did you manage to make any progress in convincing the Indians to stop purchasing so much Russian crude oil? Thanks.
Thank you. So on the proposal of banning ex-combatants of Russia entering into European Union, the proposal was made and many member states around the table supported this. Because if you look how many ex-combatants are there compared to the war in Afghanistan, for example, so there are a lot of them, and it poses a clear security risk to Europe. So we agreed to take this proposal further and test the appetite from the member states. But, this is one of the steps that we need to prepare if there is, ceasefire or some kind of solution. We need to have answers before. What do we do? What are our risks then? Because the risks also change. On India, we had very productive meetings, and of course I raised this issue as well, understanding where they are coming from. I think it is also easier for them to have this agreement with us and diversify their partnerships in this regard. What we also raised with them was the energy support to Ukraine, because, like you see, the Ukrainians are really in freezing cold. Russians are trying to bomb them into freeze to death, and even if you can't give military support, then the energy support in terms of substations, cables, whatever is needed to repair so that people wouldn't be in darkness and cold is also a humanitarian issue that could be done by them.
Over there, please. Yes.
Thank you very much. Thomas Mal-Nielsen at Euractiv. I have two questions, if I may. So one is about the 20th sanctions package. So is it still the plan to approve this package, or propose this package at least, by the 24th of February, the 4th anniversary of the invasion? And also regarding the Finnish and Swedish proposals, so they proposed three things: the maritime services ban, restrictions on imports of Russian fertilizers, and a ban on exports of luxury goods. I was just wondering, what do you make of these proposals? Do you think they're plausible? Will they be in the package? And then the second question about China. So you praised Mark Carney's speech at Davos in your speech yesterday, but we've also seen, both Mark Carney but also Keir Starmer attempt to improve relations with China, both politically and economically. And so my question is this something that you think the EU should consider doing, or not? Thank you.
Thank you. On the 20th package of sanctions, yes, we aim to have, to come out with this on the 24th of February. And for that, countries are proposing different things, including what you mentioned, the full maritime services ban, and also issues on energy sanctions and different fertilizers. I mean, these are proposals on the table. So the work is ongoing. I can't say that we have an agreement now, otherwise we would already, declare that we have an agreement. But we had today a lot, so now we continue working with this. On the other question, what everybody sees is that we really need to build our partnerships, but at the same time not creating any new dependencies, because your dependency is also your vulnerability. And we have learned the hard way that, via this vulnerability, you can also be hurt. If you think about the Russian energy, that was the dependency on the Russian energy that Europe had. So member states are quite cautious in this regard. We are actually China is posing a long-term challenge because they are using the economic cursive practices towards our markets. So we need to have a response to that. But at the same time, like I say, reach out to different partnerships with different countries across the world. And what I can say also is that there is much appetite for countries outside Europe to also work with us. Being predictable has become virtue.
We'll take the last two. We move back to the center to balance it out. Lily in the center, maybe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lily from Reuters. I think a lot of us are quite curious about the ministers' only discussion in the morning. Did you discuss the issue of Greenland? And are there any ideas on the table for how perhaps the European Union could contribute to addressing some of the security issues that have been raised around Greenland and the Arctic? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I would be also interested in that discussion because it was a very good discussion, very good and open discussion on the outlook for the 2026. Of course, we discussed Greenland and also the unified approach that we had, and also how it makes us stronger if we are united. And clearly, also the issues of security and more what we can do for defense of Greenland, but also other parts of Europe. So it was a good, frank and open discussion, and I would also say quite clear-eyed. Thank you.
Thank you. We take the one right behind Lily, indeed. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Barzansa, reporter from Kurdistan 24. Could you give us conclusion on North Syria, the Kurdish area we call Rojava? And the second, I would like to give you the book as a gift. So this book is, this is the pour history, that means for the history. So this book was written by President Barzani, and there is everything inside this book about the Kurd. So I would like to give you as a gift. Is it okay?
Yes, very
right.
good. You know, my reading list is quite long. I'm not telling you what I'm reading right now, but it's also about the history of different regions. So by the end, when I finish this job, I will be very smart. But anyway, on Syria, on your question. The discussion was that should we do something very concrete. So what we agreed is to do the outreach to our regional partners. What more can we do to keep Syria on the right track? I mean, everybody expressed the inclusivity of the governance is a problem. Also, reconciliation of the society is a problem. So when we have done the outreach to the regional partners, then we have also agreed or discussed how we can then help Syria. I mean, if they have problem with the building up of the institutions, I mean, we can help with that. But let's then, share who does what to keep them on track, because our common interest is the stability of Syria and the stability of the Middle East, for that matter.
Thank you, High Representative. We'll be closing this press conference. We have the Accession Council with Morocco. We'll be happy to stay in touch at a later stage. Have a good evening.